There it is. Now I need to tweet.
You need to tweet.
Boom. There it is.
Yay.
There we are.
And there we go. Retweeted. 4 seconds later.
4 seconds later. It's like all of a sudden it's like magic. The magic happens on twitch.tv/Tauren Think Tank.
That's the magic.
Hello, magic. Hello, magic.
I went ahead and made my void elf as well
did
the
you?
other day.
Yeah.
And I forgot. I like to do like, words from other languages. And that like name my characters that.
Okay.
Like my Worgen warrior's name, her name is Yasna. It's like Slavic for the word sharp.
Okay.
Because she's got claws and stuff. And
Sure.
so
That's good. I like that.
yeah. And my void elf, and I'll say this on the show too. My void elf's name is Isrizio, and it's Latin for hunger because he hungers for the void. They're trying to stave off that insatiable hunger. I tried the word for void. It's like inacius or inacius. Like it's kind of like the word inane.
Okay.
But I was already taken probably by a shadow priest.
Oh, darn shadow priests.
Yeah, I was like,
man?
they're like, man, we're the OG void users. Silly priests. Silly priests.
You just used the word OG in terms of
Yeah. Doesn't sound
did.
very
you did.
Doesn't
you did
sound very threatening. It's like, yeah,
I had to
totally
put my soundboard up. Oh, I had left I'd left the computer on after I edited the show last week, and I realized that I had just left it on the entire time. I hadn't done the shutdown on my second computer.
Oh.
And I was like, oops. And so on a Mac, you get you have a wireless mouse and a wireless keyboard, and so it will tell you when your batteries are getting low. And so like last week when I was doing the show edit, it was like, yeah, your mouse batteries are very low, and their definition of very low is that there's still like 12% left. So yeah. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm going to live dangerously and just leave it. Well, then I wound up leaving the darn thing on for a week and didn't turn it off.
Oh.
So, yeah.
No.
I am pretty good about keeping supply stuff around the house, like batteries. and happened to be today where I stepped on my scale and my scale just kind of went roar, and I'm like, oh, I think you probably need some new batteries. So I went in, dug into the battery drawer, and went, oh shoot, I was like harvesting batteries from other things. I don't need this remote right now, do I?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then it was like straight to Amazon. Let's get some more batteries.
Give me some more batteries now.
Please give me batteries. Hi, Colin. Glad you're able to make it. Hi, Dad.
Welcome.
We are here. It is Thursday night.
Oh.
We are ready. We are ready for a podcast.
We're ready to do it to it.
Do it.
Hey, Erlina.
To it. Hi, Erlina. I'm going to do it to it.
Do it. Kill him.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I don't know. My brain is strange today, so I don't know what you're gonna get. I don't know what I don't know what you guys are gonna get from me today. I've been very chill and very zen today, so we'll see.
Oh yeah,
We'll see what you get.
nothing wrong with that.
But
I'm
just
just glad I've got 2 more days of work left, and then I've got a weekend, and
yeah,
I'm
you
excited
do.
about that.
You have to work tomorrow and Saturday, and then you got Sunday, Monday. Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
Monday. I should, enunciate my words.
Sunday money, Sunday money.
Sunday,
It's Sunday
Monday.
money. You want that Sunday
Oh,
money? Yes. Yes, I am.
I think I made the best meal I have ever cooked for myself this week. I
Oh, really?
I made my own healthier burrito bowls, and I made carnitas, pork carnitas in the slow cooker. So slow roasted for 8 hours and then broiled in the oven. I made fresh rice. I made my own chipotle crema to put on it. Uh huh. And
Nice.
yep, and some pico de gallo, which I bought fresh from the store, but it was like fresh pico de gallo, and so it was like all that. It was so good. Oh my god, I wanted to eat like 15 bowls of it. It was so
Oh, I would too. That sounds really, really good.
so good. Um, I would have put beans in there, like some black beans, but beans have been bothering my stomach lately, so I was like, all right, we'll go without the beans. But it was like the smell of my house yesterday making that pork was just like, as I'm working all day in the house as it's cooking since like 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm just like, this is amazing.
Oh, that's like when you put food in the crock pot at night, and then you wake up in the morning and it's still cooking, and you're like, oh my goodness.
Guess who's cooking on my next visit? Yeah, I could cook that for you, Dad. It's pretty darn easy when you do it ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I got a rice cooker for Christmas this year, from Pat and his wife, and the rice cooker is it's an awesome thing. Like, yeah, you can cook rice in a pot and boil it right there. It's just this makes it, I don't know, makes just make 10 times easier. I probably at some point should think about getting one of those instant pots, but I haven't done that yet. So, because then it's like slow cooker, pressure cooker, rice cooker in one thing. So,
Oh wow.
and
Yeah, those are
you get
that
rid
would
of
work.
all the extra appliances.
Oh yeah. Get a little bit more of your kitchen counter space back.
I know, because you start running out. I don't have a ton of like counter space in my condo, so when I'm cooking, there's just like like yesterday, it was just like rice cooker on one side, slow cooker on the other, and I was like, oh my god. It was pretty good.
Yeah, that'll definitely help out.
And it made really good leftovers today, which I have a
Oh.
lot. It was like 4 pounds of pork, so there's a lot that got frozen. But
Oh wow, yeah.
just wind up freezing that for when I'm ready for the next round in a couple of weeks. After you've eaten it for a week and you're like, okay, I'm done for a while. So
Yeah. Give me something else.
Yep. It's pretty awesome. So Garrus is laying in his bed right now and he's using his back leg as a pillow. So he's curled around like a C shape, and his back leg is out, and he's got his, oh no, okay, now he's next to it, but he was laying on top of the back leg, so it was like the back leg with the pillow. No room for cooking with New Jersey Italian, Chinese, and shore food. Amen to that. There must be pizza. There must be Mediterranean food. And
Hey, what's shore food?
shore food is when we go down to the boardwalk and we get drinks right up against the ocean, and then there's usually it's like fried clams and stuff that I can't get here,
Oh yeah.
fish and yum, and so yum.
Oh, that reminds me of like there's a couple times I've eaten at the Gulf Coast, and there's like the restaurant, there's a little bit of open beach, and then just the Gulf, and you're just sitting there eating. Like I did that one time, and it was late at night, but it was a nice cool evening, and it was such good food too.
There is really nothing better than eating food next to the ocean. Like there's outside with the wind, the breeze on you. It's one of the most amazing things to do in life. I love it. I love it. I would do it all the time if I could. Ren uses her back feet as pillows. Yeah, I can see that. Miss Ren. She's so cute.
The day after you told me about that the feline Funko that Kalani has now, I went into GameStop. Well, yeah, I told you about that. That was Friday. I went and I saw it. I saw one of those. I'm like, hey, I know that one. And then I bought a bunch of Ready Player One ones.
Yeah, so I saw that tweet from Draven about it's premiering on a Thursday night, right?
Yep.
Are you planning to go on Thursday night?
No.
No.
At least not if I don't, and only if I am okay with sleeping on the couch for the rest of the year. Oh, because the missus wants to go see it.
So you must make sure that there's a dual friendly time for both of you to go see it. Okay. Yeah. She couldn't go on Thursday night?
She teaches on Thursdays.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'd have to work early the next day, and I'm like, I really want to go see it.
I know, right? Well, then you can, you'll just have to wait until Friday.
That means I have to stay off the internet just completely. That's like with all the stuff about Infinity War. I'm like, I don't want to watch any. Check out the new footage that we've got and the new story details. No, I don't want to know about it. I want to just park my happy butt there in late April now. Woo! Like a week or two early, or like a week early now. So now I get to, because they bumped it up a week.
I know. That's awesome. Right? I'm really excited for that. I still need to see Black Panther. I haven't seen Black Panther yet. Actually, I haven't seen the Thor movie yet. The one from November. I know.
The one that just came out. It came out on Blu-ray this week.
Oh, did it come out this week?
Yes, it came out on Tuesday. I almost bought it.
Maybe I'll watch that sometime in the next couple days because I need to see that. I haven't seen it yet.
Yes, you do.
I do. I know I do.
You really do. It's so good.
I know.
It's goofy as hell.
You know what I'm excited about though is
what's that?
The Mary Poppins Returns trailer.
Did you see that? I saw the teaser. I'm kind of like, is it supposed to be like they're the same kids?
I have no idea.
Because I don't know. I thought it was like maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll do something like in Hook where it's like the next generation or something.
I think that's what they're doing. Like they're doing the whole like it's their children. The kids are grown up now and it's their children that need Mary Poppins.
Okay.
I think that's what it is, but I'm not sure because I kind of watched it and then I was like, oh, this looks so cool because I loved Mary Poppins as a kid.
Oh, I did too. It was one of my favorites.
Yep. So and then to see Emily Blunt do that character, and I was just like, oh my god, it looks just like her. So yeah, she does. I'm so excited.
Always wanted to be a chimney sweep.
Yeah.
From Mr. Van Dyke.
Just because you were like Bert.
Yep, I like
All right.
Bert.
We're babbling
and his atrocious accent.
that Cockney accent that was.
Oh yeah.
Jane and Michael are grown and married. Okay. Yeah, Christopher Robin. I saw that trailer and I was kind of like,
I haven't seen that one yet.
I don't know. I have never really connected with Winnie the Pooh at all. So it just never connected with me as a kid. So the Christopher Robin live action thing, I'm just like, yeah, it's okay. I don't think I need to see that. But
yeah, I haven't seen the trailer for it, but I knew it was in the pipes. It was coming out at some point. Yeah. So
it's the same concept as like the Beauty and the Beast and that kind of thing. And I watched a little bit of the Beauty and the Beast live action movie and I didn't like it. So I was like, all right.
That's pretty much blasphemy around most of the people that I associate with. So I keep that opinion under wraps, but I didn't really like it either. The only part I liked was the new song for the Beast.
Okay.
Mostly because he's a baritone and so am I, so I could actually sing it if I wanted to. Yeah. And I do like that song. It sounds good, but I just didn't like Hermione as Belle and it didn't translate well. I thought the Jungle Book translated fairly well. into live action except for Mr. Christopher Walken singing "I Want to Be like you, ooh ooh." That's just pretty much exactly how he did it, and it really
Yeah.
took me out of the movie. Did you see it?
No,
Oh,
I
you
know
didn't?
exactly. I've seen that. I've
You've
seen
seen
in
it?
that music video, and so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
That was kind of cringy, but the rest of the movie was fairly well done. It's
Okay.
fairly well done.
All right, I'm
So, yeah.
gonna ready check the chat room. You guys are ready to roll?
I hope so, because we're gonna go with or without you. No, I'm kidding. We're waiting for you.
Are you ready? Boom, 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 boom. As we wait for the chat room to catch up. 8675309.
All right, Jenny.
Jenny. Awesome. You guys are ready. So, Marconin, are you ready?
Yes.
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 Yes. We are recording. We are recording episode 263. And it begins in 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to Tauren Think Tank, the podcast about the Blizzard gamer behind the keyboard.
It's episode 263 of Tauren Think Tank. Today is Thursday, March 8th of 2018. It's 8:10 p.m. Central Time. My name is Jules, and with me as always is the man who's wearing a Mighty Morphin something, because I can't see the whole thing, shirt. It's going to drive him crazy because he can't say anything until I introduce him. It's Mark Honan.
Yeah, it's a Power Rangers shirt, Jules.
I was,
It's a Power Rangers shirt.
Kind of being a little trolly there for a minute.
Yeah, just a little trolly.
just an easy little bit.
A little troll.
I'm in a weird mood tonight, so you're warned. I don't know where my brain's gonna go. Just it's a weird kind of zen, chill mood. So let's take it as it comes.
Yep.
So hi.
Buckle up, folks.
Buckle up. It could be a bumper ride. What's shaking? How's everything been? What's going on with you?
What's shaking, bacon?
What's shaking, bacon?
Speaking of bacon, I started the keto diet again this week. So I've been really low on carbs. This is like day 3.5.
Yeah.
So I'm doing okay. I am hungry a lot more because I'm not filling up on those delicious carbs that I miss already.
Yeah.
But I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
I haven't quite crested the hill because I'm feeling very tired. But once you fully switch over, if it's anything like last time, I'll feel a lot better. And so that's the point. So
yeah, you just have
trucking
to
right along with that.
Get over the hill of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you do. But let's see. Other than that, I tanked normal Argus and didn't. Well, I died, but we killed Argus on raid night, so I have now killed normal Argus on my mage and my paladin. So I am now elite. I am now very, very elite. So I can do it. So now I just have to do it on a healer, which is not going to happen because not a very good healer.
You'd be like the triple threat. I can heal this boss, I can tank this boss, and I can DPS this boss. Bring it on.
Yeah. Except I'm an awful healer.
Yeah, well,
but that's okay.
Little things.
We all have our strengths. We all have our strengths.
That would be like me trying to tank anything. Just forget it. It ain't happening. It's just not happening.
Oh yeah. Well, that and let's see what else. Not finally, but I did unlock Void Elves because I've been working on my Lightforged Draenei Warrior.
Woohoo.
But I saw a piece of fan art that I retweeted a few days back, and it was a Void Elf Hunter, and I was like, oh, well, this says things to me, so I think I'm going to make a Void Elf Hunter because it just looked awesome, and
it makes me feel things.
Yes, kind of. Oh, and we'll get to this other part in a second, but So I made my Void Elf Hunter, and so he's like level 21. He's not very high up, but um, it took me about a half hour to get his name because I always like to do something with a language because
Right.
I like the sound of it, and so I tried a bunch of different variations, and I finally came up with Esrizio, which is Latin for hunger, because the Void Elves are constantly on the precipice of this insatiable hunger to accept the void and for the void to overtake them. So it's a he. I made a male Void Elf Hunter, and he has this cool like Doctor Strange goatee, and he's like, "Hello, ladies." So he's got the charisma going, and so I think it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to see these new allied races. So I've been having fun with that. Talking about feeling things, I got on the PTR and played some Overwatch of Brigitte. Brigitte, yes. I played her, and the other day they added all of the unlock stuff.
Yep.
And I was looking at her highlights, like if you get play of the game, and there's one called Defender where she like leaps over you and shields you, and then she like reaches down because you're like on the ground. She reaches down, and the look on her face, I was like, "Oh, hello, ma'am." That's oh goodness, am I blushing? Oh goodness,
It's hot.
whew, those eyes, man. I'm getting a case of the vapors. My goodness, sure
Only
is
people
hot.
from the South will say vapors. It's just awesome.
Ooh-wee.
Got a case of the vapors.
Ooh, it's warm as a Louisiana summer over here. Ooh-wee.
One of my most favorite things about doing this show with you is the Southernisms that can come out of nowhere. Kalani just said, "Bless your heart."
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
That's when you want to say something mean, but you can't because your mama's watching. The good Lord's looking down on you, and you can't say something mean to him. You say, "Bless your heart."
Because it's
If
so condescending and painfully obvious that you're just like, "Oh, pat, pat, pat on the head."
Oh, sugar, it'll be all right. Bless your heart.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, sugar.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Now that we've gotten hopelessly derailed, Brigitte.
Yeah. Yeah. I played a game of just random here, or I played like a one match on there, and all 12 of us were Brigitte. All 12. It was nuts.
Yeah.
Because you could just pick, it was like a free-for-all or no limits, I think is what I
Yeah.
picked.
Yeah.
And so, new hero, everybody picked her. And it was just funny seeing all these Brigittes just running around, hopping around with their shields and their flails. And oh, it was cool. So I can't wait to play her in the regular matches.
I can't wait to see people playing her at a high level too. That's one of my most favorite things, is to see a character, a new character in the hands of pros and what they can do. That's like one of my most favorite things when it comes to Heroes of the Storm. Like, because you see this character and you're like, oh my gosh, this has so much playmaking potential. And then they figure out this insane strategy with this character that you're like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. So pretty cool.
And then everybody in competitive play copies it. They're like,
oh,
that's a good one. And they try to anyway. Yeah.
Yes.
That's why I like watching Overwatch League when I can. Is like I'll look at how somebody's playing a character that I play. I'm like, maybe I should try using that strategy. Yeah. And of course, I get right in, and I feel like I'm in Overwatch League because I'm just it's in my head, and then I keep dying, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it's just me. But no, it's been going good. I've been playing a lot of Overwatch lately too. I actually got the legendary McCree skin from Year of the Dog like the last day.
Oh,
because I didn't buy any packs. I just did. I just got loot boxes from Mystery Heroes and all that other stuff. And so finally got that. I didn't have enough to get one. I think I wanted Farah. I wanted her dragon one, but I just didn't have enough gold for that. But maybe when they do the Uprising event, if they add any new skins, I can grab a couple of those. But
nice.
Yeah, that's pretty much been most of my week. We haven't flooded because it hasn't really rained. Awesome. So I'm glad for that. Got all that cleaned up.
You didn't say the big thing though from last week, like the kind of the
which one?
What happened after you told the story.
Oh yeah, I found my keys, ladies and gentlemen. I found the keys
I was
to
like,
mine and my wife's cars.
are you gonna tell him?
I forgot because it's like traumatic, so my brain sequestered it off into the left side of memory, like over in the broom closet. I
Yeah.
wanted to forget the whole thing happened. But yeah, so one of my coworkers, the one I rode with that day, he's on vacation this week. So his last day was like last Friday
Yeah.
before you went on vacation. And and he said he would look through his truck to try and see if my keys were there. Cause I called all the clients. I did all the things. The only place other than me just chunking it out a window randomly, now remembering it, is that it was on his truck. So I told him, I was like, hey, put your truck keys in the store, like have them lock it up, and I'm driving the near hour to your store, and I want to look just for my own sanity. And then like 10 minutes later, he sends me a picture of my keys on his lap, and he said, look what I found. I was like, you didn't even look. 3 days you've had my keys in your truck, and you didn't even. I asked him, where were they? And he's like, oh, they were just in the side door under some things. And I was like, you didn't even look. Like I looked in that pocket, but I didn't see it. But I think because it was like underneath something.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I was like, you didn't even bother looking. I've been stressing here for days.
Oh my gosh.
Ah!
Oh my gosh. That's insane. But the good thing is that you found the keys.
Yes, I do. And I bought one of those little tile things to put on my keys.
Yep.
Yeah. So I bought that the other day and got it set up last night. So now if I need to find my keys, I can just tap on my phone app and see where they were. So that helps. So
Yeah.
I'm very happy about that because it was very stressful. And I was so mad at myself for losing those keys. But yes, I found those keys. Thank you for reminding me. I totally forgot to say that I found them.
Well, you texted me the picture on Friday.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my gosh. That's like, it was such a relief though that you had found them.
Yeah.
After all of
Oh,
that
yeah.
story. Good Lord.
I was drenched to the bone for 2 days. Out in the rain looking for that all over creation.
Yep, and they were in your coworker's truck. Yep.
Yep. So I'm going to also buy like a carabiner to put my keys on so I can just hook them onto my belt or something.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. But
good
yes,
man.
Found my keys. So hallelujah. They found my keys. What once was lost has now been found.
Yay. Yes.
Oh, so after that extensive recap of the last 7 days, Jules, how are you doing? How's your week been? I know you're zen today.
I'm very zen today, and it's been good. I've just been kind of really just chill and kind of zoned out in a good way.
Yeah.
But on Friday, so we did the show Thursday. I went to bed and I woke up. I think Garrus actually woke me up somewhere around 3:00 in the morning, and I woke up and knew immediately that something wasn't quite right with me. I got up and I'm like, oh no, I have a bladder infection. Like I knew instantly that I had one. And it's 3:00 in the morning and I'm like, oh, this is going to get really bad. Because I've, a lot of us ladies have had them before and they're not comfortable at all. And you know that it's going to be a pretty awful experience. So, and the other part of it is like, oh man, I really don't want to go to an urgent care because everybody's got the freaking flu. And who wants to go to sit in an urgent care for hours with a whole bunch of people that are infected with the flu? And so I was awake anyway. I went online and I said, I think I remembered seeing something that my healthcare provider had that offered like over the phone service, like basically any common ailments that you had, they could diagnose over the phone and give you treatment. And so I looked into it and I was right. My healthcare, my insurer and my healthcare provider has this service, and it's got like 50 different ailments of things that are kind of like the minor type of things that you might want to go to a doctor for, but it's kind of inconvenient to do that. And one of them was a bladder infection, a UTI, and they ask you a whole bunch of questions and they tell you that it's going to cost you like no more than $49 to have you taken care of by a nurse practitioner. They'll get back to you in 30 minutes or less. And exactly what happened. Like, they're like, after I answered all the questions, they're like, we think you have a UTI. I'm like, uh-huh. And we're going to prescribe you this antibiotic and pain medication, and you can get it at your pharmacy. And I'm like, yes. My pharmacy doesn't open until 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay. No. So yeah, any case, it worked out okay, because like Friday morning was the beginning of the Heroes Western Clash in Poland, starting at 4 a.m. So I was up anyway watching that, which is a really surreal experience for me to watch esports starting at 4 o'clock in the morning for like 2 days. I couldn't do it on the third day. I was too tired. But 4 o'clock in the morning, you're up there, and you're like, by the time it get like 9 o'clock, I'm like, I've been up for 5-6 hours already. What is this? Like, this is so strange. So yeah, I felt really kind of like gross and icky the entire weekend, and started finally feeling better on Monday, which was good. And slept a lot during the weekend, which is also good.
Yeah.
So, but I was right on Monday morning. I was ready to go for recording on Converterade. So I got that, got the Western Clash recap in there, got that done. It was awesome, but I've been just tired, it's like and even today, I mean, it's Thursday and I was diagnosed almost a week ago. My body has just been very tired. And so partly why I'm probably kind of zen and kind of chill is just like, let's just heal and de-stress and calm down a little bit. But I got my hair done on yesterday evening, and my hair is now purple and blue. So
it is, and it looks so good.
It's so pretty. It's really hard to see it on the camera screen because it just doesn't pick it up as much. But I promise you, it's purple and it's blue and it's amazing, and I love it. So
check out her Twitter. She's got before and after pics.
Yeah, I put them up today so you could see them. That's pretty awesome. So it's at JulesRPG on Twitter. So that's what's been going on with me. This weekend we are having a little Minnesota meetup on Saturday, and we've got some folks coming into town from the Convert to Raid Guild who are located out of state. They're coming into town. So we're going to go on Saturday, and we're going to watch Overwatch League at our normal haunt, which is the New Bohemia, Roseville. They've actually got the ability to stream Overwatch League. And
sweet.
Yeah, so we're going to do that. And then I think tomorrow night we're going to just go out and play some video games at the local barcade, pizza, that kind of stuff, and just hang out and chill. So I get to see some folks from the community this weekend. And if you are listening and you're like, yeah, I want to go do that, we're getting together at 2 o'clock in the afternoon at New Bohemia, Roseville, on this Saturday, 2 to 6. It's not going to be a ton of us, but we'll be there. So, yeah.
Awesome.
So, it's very cool.
I'll have to come up to one of those.
You do. I mean, we kind of like, these days I keep getting messages from people who are like, I'm going to be in town. Do you have a meetup coming up? And I'm like, well, I'll just make one, I'll just create one. Let's just get together because someone's here. From everything that I've heard, Johnny Feisty is going to be in town in June.
Oh, wow.
I know. And so I was like, we need to make a meetup happen for you when you're here. So
yeah.
So
I haven't seen him since Dragon Con.
I know. I haven't seen him since Nerdtacular 2014. I think he hasn't been able to come out to any of them since then. So anyway, super excited. We're gonna have some people in town. It'll be good. And I think we should get into a podcast episode. We have a discussion topic that was submitted by one of our listeners.
Yes, they did, and I think that would be a good idea too.
All right, let's think tank it up. Here we go.
Tauren between options? Let Triple T help you sort it out.
This letter comes to us from listener Mochteld, a friend of the show, and she says, "Dear Jules and Marconin, I'm afraid this topic may be a bit of a downer, so please feel free to save it until sunnier weather. One of the things I resent my ex the most for is shattering my belief in unconditional love. To clarify, I certainly believe in unconditional love in other non-romantic circumstances, such as between parents and children, humans and animals, or the gods / the divine and humans, if you subscribe to such a worldview. But between romantic partners, I'm not so much longer sure that this is let me start that over. I'm no longer sure such a thing exists. We all have quote-unquote conditions for our relationships, whether that's sexual fidelity or gainful employment or refraining from physical violence towards one another. When those conditions aren't met, the relationship is no longer sustainable. So why do we perpetuate this myth of unconditional romantic love? What is a healthier model, or am I just too darn cynical? Looking forward to hearing your thoughts." From Mochteld.
You're cynical. Good night, folks. See you later. No, I'm kidding.
Good night, folks.
Peace.
Okay, so I will say that when I got this letter initially, it was like this process of, well, of course, well, is there? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a question you think you can easily answer, but when you dig a little deeper, it's like, yeah, we got to think about that one for a minute.
Yeah. I think she explains it. She explains it the best way that I think it makes the most sense when you say there is such a thing as unconditional love between parents and children and humans and animals. And, I think that that's a little bit easier to define, but even then it doesn't always exist. Like it's not absolute. And so, but we have those kind of struggles, like when we're faced with what's in the media and what we see on the movies and read in books and we've read in history is this all-encompassing love understands, love, knows no bounds, love forgives, but then we have life.
Yeah. And nobody's perfect.
No. And so, and like, we'll clarify this. If you are a newer listener to the show, I am divorced and Marconin is married. So we come at this from different perspectives, and different life experiences with, we've both obviously experienced love. It's just a matter of like what our life experiences have taught us, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're coming at it together in the same direction, but from different points of view. And Mochteld, you did a really good job of explaining it when you went to, and for me, there's only the worldview that I subscribe to. There is no such thing as unconditional love on this planet, other than possibly animals, like pets to their owners, because sometimes you cannot love your pet because they pooped on the floor or they ate your favorite shirt, or something. But when I look at my dog, and I've got a little Yorkie Maltese mix, and like every time I look at him, he's beside himself, excited to see me, no matter what kind of day I've had, no matter anything. So I think in my worldview is that the unconditional love that pets show their owners is but a small glimpse of what the divine beings, like God's unconditional love to humanity, because it's like a glimmer of what could be awaiting, or what's awaiting us on the other side, because humans are imperfect. We are selfish, jealous, covetous beings in some form or fashion. No one's perfect, and that's okay. But there's no way for us to really truly experience and to give unconditional love, because we don't, we always have conditions. Just like Mochteld said, fidelity, gainful employment, refraining from physical violence. No one meets 100% of the criteria.
Right.
But,
and well,
and so
the myth is that, you're supposed to love someone even for all of their flaws. But the reality is that, you know, if you marry someone who lies about their, let's use employment as an example, like that, you know, you fall in love and you get married and you find out that the person that you've married said they were employed by someplace and they've done everything they can to hide it from you, that they actually work, you know, at something a whole lot less than what you expected it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's use that for an example, because I think that you use the lying part as part of the equation. And so what I struggle with is like, you know, oh, I accept, you know, I would accept my husband if he worked as a CEO, or if he worked in a drive-through. I would love him and accept him and support him and all that stuff. And the thing about it is, like, the two most tenuous things in a relationship, well, three actually, is sex, money, and basically it's sex and money are the two, like, major things that will basically cause a relationship, and trust, that will cause a relationship to live or die. Like, those are the things that you will fight about the most in a relationship. When those things are not, when those needs are not met, then there's a problem. There's big problem. So,
well, and there's something to be said for someone loving someone, whether they're a CEO or a person at the drive-through. The thing is do they have a drive to better themselves? Is it something that, you know, is it, and, you know, there's all these kind of things you could dig into with all these things. It's not whether or not, you know, oh, I'll only date someone if they're this. If someone's got this lowly job, but they've got a lot of drive and they want to make something of themselves one day, that's an admirable quality. So you can, you know, when we have these conditions, you know, we can look deeper into it and see if there's things, because, you know, a lot of people aren't where they want to be financially or stuff, but they've got that drive, they've got the potential, and they've got the want to go through it. And a lot of people can see that potential, and they kind of bank their relationship on that potential. And sometimes they fall short. Sometimes it doesn't work out the way they wanted it to. And now they have to kind of contend with, well, is it worth leaving somebody because they lost their job? Is it, you know, and then you kind of feel jealous. And there's this whole thing past that you can just kind of think on. But
yeah. And so like I said in the beginning of this conversation, when I read this letter, I was like, oh man, I went from, well, of course there it is. It was kind of this, it was this realization that it seems really cynical to say it, but it's actually not cynical to say that, because
no,
I believe that we wind up becoming disillusioned with what the idea of love should be. And we paint this picture in our head, and, you know, we had a conversation on slaying demons this week. We were talking, Jocelyn Moffat on Slaying Demons is getting married, and she is going through some of the really tough stuff when it comes to kind of the pressure of getting married, and her issue right now is that she does not like how she looks while she's trying on wedding dresses, and she feels and is completely scrutinizing herself negatively on how she looks and how she appears, and how she doesn't feel that she looks the way she should look as a bride. And, you know, it started a real conversation about the fact that we have these pictures in our head of what the perfect marriage, the perfect wedding day is supposed to be. Not necessarily the marriage part. It's just like, I've got to wear a white dress, and we've got to get this big haul, and I've got to get this beautiful cake, and I've got to have these lovely flowers, and my bridesmaids have to be carrying this. And when you take that template and you apply it to love, it's like, it's taken me a long time of living and being in and out of love and seeing the dark underbelly of what love looks like when it falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
To know that there really is not a cookie cutter model of what love is for everybody.
Nope, not a bit. I agree with you completely because I've had my ups and downs in relationships, and and we all do. And to when we're kids and when we're young, and you get your first boyfriend or girlfriend, and you have this butterflies in the stomach thing, and movies and music tell you it's supposed to be this thing. You grow up, and through heartache and strife and difficulties with everything, you learn that love is conditional, but it's very malleable, and it's not cookie cutter for everybody.
No.
There's we've talked about different situations on the show before. There's poly relationships, there's online relationships, there's all different kinds and shapes and sizes and conditions that people have for their relationships. And you go through life, and you just try and get along as best you can, with the person that you decide to be with, and of course all these little conditions that you may or may not, that you may have for your relationships, that's something that should be hammered out to the best of your abilities before you get too serious. Like if someone, if I was going to date somebody and they said they hate Star Trek, I'm like, well, sorry. as much as I am attracted to you and I want to be with you, that's a deal breaker for me. Yeah. Or if you hate cats, like those are the top two for me. Like I can be your friend, like we can go hang out sometime, but like we're not gonna be able to share a home if you hate cats and Star Trek. I gotta have my cats and Star Trek, folks. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean,
hate me all you want, but
it's literally like I know that I could never date someone who did not want a cat, and like that is something that I need to have in my life. I will pick my cat over a man for sure. Yes, because that is, and I think that's the, like, you read things now about how people say, well, you shouldn't do this and you should do this, and this is how, like people say about getting engaged. Like, it should never be a surprise that you're planning to get engaged. You should be discussing that process and that possibility together, and you should, and then the countless number of times where you'll go out on Reddit and you'll read these stories that people list about how, they have this proposal that goes, sour. She just he gets up on the big screen at some football game, and then she says no. And, because it's just, my point being is that we have these idealized pictures in our head about what romantic relationships should look like, because they should match the chick flicks, the rom-coms, the storybook endings, the stuff that you read about, or it's just like, no wonder we are disappointed.
Yeah,
when you get into it,
we put it on a pedestal and we set these such high expectations. So when it falls short, we are devastated.
Yeah.
And Mocktail, I'm sorry that your ex did that to you.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry, because it sucks. It really does.
Yeah.
But
and now
I ask old people, ask people who've been married for decades and decades, ask them about their relationships, the ups and downs. That will paint a much more accurate picture of life with someone else, and what it takes, what you have to concede, because love is concession. That's the gigantic part about it, is you have to concede ground. You can't, if it's a war, like Wicked Kitten said it earlier, love is a battlefield. You can't concede all your territory, and neither can they. Mm-hmm. You have to pick your battles. You have to concede territory on both sides, trying to find, a common place.
Yeah.
Because there's things that I like to do that my wife doesn't like. Mm-hmm. And there's things my wife likes to do that I don't like, that we don't share, and that's fine. I give ground there and she gives ground elsewhere, and we just kind of feel it out. And as long as we've got the end goals are the same, how we get there, that's okay. And
Yeah.
however we get there is fine. And I think a lot of people, they have that picture perfect idea, and people aren't, that your partner's not perfect. Neither are you. And the sooner you can get the idea of unconditional love on this planet out of your head, the easier it's going to be. Not saying that love is awful, because it's not. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. It's what keeps our lives, fills our life with meaning, and ties society together.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's just
imperfect beings, give imperfect relationships. So
that's right.
it's
And
part of it.
You're trying to mesh two different personalities and two different life experiences together into one. Like, when you think about people who want it to be this unconditional situation, it's like we've merged into one. Well, no, that doesn't exist. That doesn't. It shouldn't exist in my mind.
You complete me.
Because I understand the whole "you complete me" thing, but there's a visual that I always have when it comes to the stronger relationships that I know, and that is the two people that stand firmly on their own 2 feet next to each other. They're not merged together. They're not tied to each other. They're not the other half. It is two individuals who have come together for a common life. And so that's the most healthy relationship. Like, when you talk about talk to older people, like, I've seen older people who are in relationships that never should have lasted, but they stayed together because it was the only thing that they knew in their lives, and there wasn't any other option for them. They didn't feel strongly enough to take the other option, which would be to separate. And so, though I agree with you, I think that you have to look at the people who are making it really work, and that they feel like they have become that side by side unit that works together. I've been one of the things I've been binge watching while I haven't been feeling very good. ER is on streaming for the first time on Hulu, and I've loved ER. And the first season of ER, it's 1994 is when it came out. So holy crap.
Goodness.
And, so I don't think there's any spoilers, but the whole first season storyline for Dr. Green and his wife, where he's an ER, he's a ER chief resident, and she's training to be a lawyer. And there's this, like, they're trying to make this work of these two ambitious people who have very, very different life paths. And they eventually wind up splitting up because they can't make it work. Well, one gets a job and he stays in Chicago. She goes to Milwaukee, and her path takes her away from him. And he doesn't want to move because he's got a path that he wants to be on. And it's that metaphor of, like, we get together with somebody and then we say, we're going to walk through this life together. But sometimes those paths that you take deviate from the center.
Yeah.
And that's life. Yeah.
I mean, and you have to follow your path, but sometimes, there's parts that I've had to concede over the last few years for the good of the relationship. There's places I could have moved to, jobs I could have taken that would have put me on a very different path.
Yeah.
But I decided that other things were more important, so I didn't take them, and I'm not sad that I didn't. It's just a different path that I wanted for myself. Yeah. In some relationships, one person will put their goals on hold to ensure that the other person's goals get met, so that they can then work on theirs, because sometimes it happens that way.
Yeah. But the one thing I will say that I have learned and that I will take forward with me if I move into a future relationship is that that relationship has to be built on really brutal, frank honesty.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be. It has to be like, you know, I need to be with someone who is not afraid to talk about the tough stuff and to talk about what's happening in, you know, and to air the resentments and to, you know, say this isn't working for me. This is not what I want it to be, or this bothered me, or this makes me uncomfortable, because that is so crucial in order to have you know, the whole visualization of two people, independent beings working together as one. If you're standing there like, oh, come on, read my mind and, you know, just react to everything that I think it is, it's never going to happen. You don't, it just doesn't happen. So, but what I have found is that there's a whole lot of people out there that are super uncomfortable with that. They just don't feel comfortable being honest and being blunt about stuff and being upfront about stuff. And it's hard. It's, you know, because I come from that place right now where I'm just like, look, just say it straight. Don't try to protect feelings. Don't try to, like, you know, let's just talk about it and be real about it instead of being like, I'm fine, there's nothing wrong, or I can't stand it. It just, because it turns into bad stuff from my experience, really bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my struggle with that, is to literally try to find someone who shares that philosophy. And anybody who doesn't, it's a deal breaker. I'm sorry. If you're just going to be kind of doing your thing and having, you know, just can't talk about your feelings or can't talk about your emotions, I know. I'm sorry. You got to fly with me. And so that's where I stand at this point in my life, where I'm just like, yeah, for me, love has got to come from a place of honesty and truthfulness and trust, because when that doesn't happen, it's catastrophic.
Yeah, it really is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the tough part about this conversation is that we want to believe the fairy tale.
Yeah, we do. We want that idyllic situation because it's picture perfect. But, you know, most of the time it's just Photoshop. Yeah, that picture is rarely perfect.
We all have those perfect, like, those movie moments that we have in our brain of, like, that perfect, you know, it's Jerry Maguire running into the house to say, you know, you complete me. And, or Han Solo saying I know when Leia says I love you. You know, we all have those perfect moments in our brain of, like, I wish that someone would do that. But that's not life.
No,
it's not.
I've had moments where I picture one of those, like, movie moments, and I'm like, I could totally do that. And then, like, I go out to do that, and I do the romantic thing or whatever, and then it just goes unnoticed and falls flat, and it's just kind of like,
that's raw.
You know, and then the curtain comes down. It's like the end.
Wah.
You know, like the whole stand outside the window with the jukebox or the boom box. You know,
that one too.
driving away, reconsidering, and then speeding around to find them. You know, like, don't go, catch them in the terminal when they're trying to fly away, and all this.
Yeah.
You know, you get those moments in your head. It's like, that would be super romantic and awesome, and then it just womp just falls flat.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I know that if someone, like, showed up on my doorstep and said, I love you, I'd be like, get out, you stalker, how'd you find my address?
I'm calling the police. So well, and, you know, Mocktail said, what's a healthier model? So healthier model, I mean, to me, it's just, as bad as it sounds, lowering your expectations.
It's true.
It's true. And in a healthy way, recognize that unconditional love is a myth when it comes to two imperfect people.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean you can't make something beautiful out of it. You can have a wonderful lifelong relationship, but just know that going into it, it's not going to be perfect. They're going to screw up royally from time to time. So are
you.
And so are you. Yeah. You both are.
Yeah.
But having a good foundation of knowing that neither of you are perfect, but you do if you have any conditions, make them known. Be willing to concede ground when it's reasonable, and having them concede ground in the relationship when it's reasonable, meeting them in the middle in a lot of ways, because it's not going to be perfect. Yeah. You're not going to get everything you want, and neither are they. But being willing to go through the rough and tumble conditions of life together, walking alongside each other in the same direction, not being two sides of the same coin, but going next to each other into the future is the way to go.
Yeah, and know what your deal breakers are. Like, this is like, I'm sorry, but anybody, like, and this is just an example, like saying, I can't date someone who decides that they may move across the country next month. I don't think that's going to work for me. When you say that to yourself. Yeah. Or I can't date someone, or I can't be in a relationship with someone who doesn't like my animal, or wants children and I don't, or things that that are just like not good, that you would not be a happy, like, yes, you give ground, but you have to be able to say, this is the line of where I will not give ground.
Yeah.
And be clear about that.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. There's a handful of things that everybody's got. Mm-hmm. And, be willing to listen to the other person. And if there's a deal breaker, no hard feelings, but, I can't do that. And don't feel guilty for saying that there are some things that I can get by with. Like, okay, Star Trek's not your favorite thing, but you respect it, and you're cool with going to the movies with me to see Star Trek movies. You're not going to make fun of me. I could maybe work with that. Or you don't like cats, but that's because you've never had one and you've never really played around with cats or something. Like, I could maybe work with that. And, but just know your deal breakers, and don't be upset if it doesn't work out like that. Cause this, it's a tough lesson. It's one of the first lessons we usually, that you learn when you get your heart broken, is that people suck and that relationships are far from perfect. You're not going to, rarely do people ever find a perfect match, but that's okay. Cause we're not perfect people. So it's par for the course, sweetheart,
Yeah. And, unfortunately people can do really, really, really awful things to each other, which is just, it's sad. And, the damage that leaves behind can be really, really hard to get past. Especially when trust is broken, and, that, it's not something that you signed up for. You kind of go into it thinking, hey, I married this person because I expected to be with them for the rest of my life. And now that's not so much the case. And so it does. I mean, divorce changes your perspective on love. It does. But I still believe in love. My perspective on what it looks like is very different. And it's a lot more open, a lot less restrictive. And also it just, doesn't have to fit a cookie cutter model that everybody thinks it should, which is a big deal. I mean, it's a good learning experience, but, that's the more healthy way to approach it, is not cynical, but practical.
Yeah. Practical, realistic.
Yeah.
We perpetuate this myth because it sells greeting cards and movie tickets
and Valentine's Day gifts
and Valentine's Day gifts and all those other things.
Yeah.
It's an ideal. It's something, a great relationship, a great, long lasting, loving relationship is a worthy goal to strive for, but just know that we're rarely going to hit that. All you got to just try your best in the relationship, you know, but it's not perfect, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because it's the imperfections that a lot of times makes things beautiful, you know.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes. I mean, it's
that's all I'll say about that. This conversation is so freaking hard for me right now.
I was trying to be very profound in saying that something that someone can quote me one day. You know, Draven Dresden's been having a lot of cool quotes he's been copying a lot of quotes about love and stuff like that. And it's kind of, I wanted to be that guy. But of course, my perfect ideal of a good quote flittered away like unconditional love.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, big whoop.
Big whoop. I still have a lot of cynicism, but I do believe in love. So there you go. And that's all I'm about to be able to say. So with that, we will let you guys take it to Discord for some conversations there. That's tinyurl.com/tttchat2. You can send us an email if you want to stay anonymous, or if you just want to send us your thoughts in a written form that isn't public, and that's questions@taurenThinkTank.com, or you can tweet us at TaurenThinkTank. That's the best place to go to.
Yep. Any way you want to talk to us, we would love to hear from you.
That's right. All right. Well, let's move it into Tell Us One Thing, and Mark Honan did the questions this week, so let's play the bumper.
We read your submissions because reading your mind would just be creepy.
So let's talk about the first question that you came up with, because you were inspired.
I was inspired. The first question is, what's a hidden treasure that you found when going through your family stuff? And what mine is, well, and this is kind of a revisit to something, it wasn't something I just discovered, but I was going through, or my mom was going through some things in her house, in the same house that I grew up in. And she ran across a coronet, a silver coronet made by the Conn Company, CONN. And it's a coronet that my grandparents actually found in their house when they moved in back in the early mid-50s. They went up into the attic and they found this coronet. The coronet was made in the late 1800s.
Wow.
So late 1800s or like 1900s, like between 1900 and 1909. Over a century old instrument.
That had to have some crazy value.
It may. I haven't had a chance to like appraise it or anything, but they found it and then kind of forgot about it. And then they ran across it when I was in high school. And they gave it to me because, I was a musician. I played trombone, and, and they were like, here, you can have that. And I took it and I showed it to my band director, who is a trumpet player. And she wrote down 2 trumpets, and she's like, I will give you both of these out of my collection for that one. Like, she was like instantly, she's like, I will give you 2 of my really nice brand new horns for this one. And I kind of thought about it and was like, well, I think I may just hold on to it because it's been in my family for so long, and I don't quite know what it is yet. That was before I really, that was before Google, before you could like look a whole lot of stuff up. So I've kind of done now that I saw it this weekend, which is why it kind of brought it back to my mind, but I haven't had a chance to kind of dig in and look for it and kind of see it still works. The valves still move really well. So we'll see. But yeah, that's the answer to my question. What was yours, Jules?
So I thought about this one, and I think the one thing that I remember as a kid, my uncle, my dad's brother, had a fossil collection. And when I was a kid, I was going through the basement, and my parents had the fossil collection, and I thought that was the coolest thing I had ever seen, because he had some really neat ones. He had, there were some that were like old seashells and stuff, but then there were amber. I think he had a couple amber things, and he just loved fossils. And I was a science kid when I was little, so I loved stuff like that. I don't think they kept it. Either that or they gave it to my uncle. My dad would know. But yeah, it was like when I was going through the basement and discovering the stuff that my parents had, because it was their childhood home that we lived in. My grandparents passed away before I was born, and my dad got the house, and so there was a lot of stuff from their childhood still in the basement. So like there was an old, do you remember, do you know erector sets, like the really old ones?
Yeah.
My uncle had one of those, and I was just, hey, does he have it? Yeah. And so I used to play, my dad just confirmed that he has it. And there was an erector set in there that I loved. It was so cool. It was just, but it was old and rusty and not all the parts were there. But yeah, that was, probably sitting back and, what was that? Probably 1950 that was around. And so it was pretty cool to see those old things from, I would call them treasures, because it was like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. I was a big kid, fossil dinosaur archaeology kid when I was little too. So that would be right up my alley.
The erector set was both of yours, Dad? Yeah, that's awesome. I know there were other things that they had in the basement. Those were the two things that I remember as a kid. So yeah, it was fun to go through. That basement was so creepy though as a kid. It was just like, it was dark and dusty, and there were spiders in there, and I don't know what else. But it was like an exploration to go through the basement because it wasn't finished. But that's my hidden treasure.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then we asked the audience about theirs. We got, Deekshin said, this is a long one. When my dad passed away, my brother and I were tasked with packing his things and cleaning out his house. Mostly we put everything in plastic totes and put it in my basement since I had the room. Fast forward several years, there was a day where someone was talking about having their grandma's engagement ring resized so that her daughter's boyfriend could use it to propose. I remarked that I thought it was a pretty cool idea, but sadly one I could never use as there was no heirloom ring. That night, I had a dream where my dad showed me my own basement, pointed out a specific tote that my brother had packed buried in the pile, and told me that it was in a small cloth bag inside a leather jewelry box, and told me to go look at it. That weekend, I went down and I followed his instructions. Sure enough, I found the box and the bag, and inside it, a ring.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
That is really cool.
That is a very cool story.
Whew. Yeah. Oh man, that is cool. Oh wow. Yeah. Good night, folks. We can't top that one.
I know. I know. That's like amazing. That is really amazing.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. This is so cool.
Well, we should have saved that one for last.
I know. I just kind of put him in there.
Came out swinging.
Yep.
Yeah, it came out swinging. All right. So Torek says, our family always thought our last name was an Americanized version of my great grandfather's last name. But we recently found some documents that have shown that there might have been a mix-up when he immigrated here, to where his first and last name were swapped on the records. My whole life, I thought I was from a long line of Ricardos over in Sicily. Turns out my name might have come from someone naming their kid Ricky.
That's wild. That's wild. Tiber says, we found my maternal grandfather's citizenship papers, which were granted at his army training camp during World War I.
Wow.
That's cool.
That's cool. Winchester _CTR says, a full set of Doc Savage paperback books.
I can't even pronounce this Twitter name, so I'll just say Ultra Rao 5 is the name of the user. An old projector and slides. We would get it out and look at my parents' past memories. Nothing like family history and bonding over old technology. We had the old 8mm films too that my dad brought out at one point. I remember setting that up in the living room and watching their old home videos. That was cool too.
Oh yeah, that is really awesome.
Yep.
And Kalani says, the hat that my grandfather wore everywhere, tucked away at the top of the closet.
Kalani actually showed me a picture of he himself wearing his grandfather's hat. It was cool.
Oh, it's cool.
That's
very cool.
It was awesome. So we have our second question, and you can fire away on this one.
Yeah, so in honor of Oscar season, which usually is filled with movies that I have not seen or don't really care to see very much, because they're kind of Oscar bait for the most part. What obscure movie would you recommend to someone to watch? You know, something, a little hidden gem that you might have seen over the years that, you know, it's not gotten a lot of press. Maybe not everybody knows about it, but you think it's worth a look see.
Mine, I don't even know how obscure it is. I guess it's kind of obscure. Would be Muriel's Wedding. It stars Toni Collette and it is, and what's her name? Rachel. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on her name right now. I love that movie. It's just this. It's such a snapshot of like, kind of a. It's an Australian. It's set in Australia, and kind of a snapshot of living in Australia, but it's just that there's something about that movie that I just love. The main character is kind of a shit. Like, he's really kind of shitty and sad, and you feel sorry for her, but then you don't, and then you do, and so it's just, I don't know. I love that movie. There's just a couple scenes in that movie that just make me happy, so I'll say Muriel's Wedding.
Oh, nice. The one, well, Colin in the chat gave me another really good one, which I should have come up with that one, but the one that I went with is called Interstate 60. Came out in 2002. It's got let's see, it's got James Marsden, Gary Oldman, Christopher Lloyd, and also Amy Jo Johnson, who's the original Pink Ranger from Power Rangers. Nice. Tied into the shirt. Hey, she's in it. And I actually watched this movie on TV at one of my mom's friends' houses. It was just randomly on like TBS or something, and I'd never heard of it. Had no idea what it was about, but I really enjoyed it. And also, there's a cameo from Michael J. Fox in there, because it was made from some of the creators of Back to the Future. Oh. So they kind of put a little Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd cameo right at the beginning. Nice. Christopher Lloyd's in it for more of that, but it was a really cool movie, and I just really enjoyed it. The one Colin said was the Hudsucker Proxy, which I love. That. It's so good. It's quirky and weird, but it is so good. Uh-huh. Like you gotta, yeah. If we reach that movie goal on our Patreon, then we should watch the Hudsucker Proxy.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
because that'd be cool.
So I have this podcast idea that I've had kicking around forever, because, and I haven't done it, but there's a large number of movies that I have not seen from like the 80s and 90s, like the prime like movie, like cult classic, even the 2000s, and the idea that I have in my head for this podcast is called Shit Jules Hasn't Seen, because it's the stuff that people go, how could you have not seen that? So let me give you an example. The 20th anniversary of The Big Lebowski was this week, and I'm like, I've never seen The Big Lebowski, and everyone goes, what?
I haven't either.
Okay, good. But that's the kind of thing.
Share.
There was when I used to do I Remembered It Better, we had all of these movies on the list of things that Cliff and Ryan had seen and I had not. And it was like, and they go, what? And so one of them was True Lies. And I had to watch it I know. See, that's the thing. Like you go, oh my God, so you've never seen that.
Oh, so good.
So yeah, it's like this thing where I have like this blank of movies that I had not seen. And I'd worked in a video rental store from like 4 years in high school and just didn't ever see those movies. So anyway, totally off kilter with that, but the Hudsucker Proxy is one of those things where it's like the name alone of the movie would just make me not want to watch it. That makes no sense to me. I have no idea. It sounds weird. I'm not appealed to it. The Big Lebowski, I don't know what's going on with that. That is so weird. And so I am not going to watch that. So maybe one day you will see the premiere of Shit Jules Hasn't Seen because I just need to put that together and actually do it.
Sounds good to me. That'd be fun to listen to.
Yeah. Okay. So we asked you guys on what you had to say. Deekshin said Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon.
I have not seen that.
No, I haven't seen that one. So sorry.
Yeah. Torek says, not sure if these are obscure, maybe just forgotten, but Grind from 2003 and Fanboys from 2009 are pretty funny road trip comedies that I always liked.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen either of those.
Nope. I think Tybert probably has the most obscure one that I've never heard of. He says, obscure movies is my middle name, but if I have to limit myself to one, I choose The Magic Christian, starring Peter Sellers and Ringo Starr. Truly a movie that could only have been made during the 60s.
I'm gonna have to. I'll have to watch that now.
I don't know if I could do it. Like,
it sounds interesting.
Weird.
Winchester _CTR says Krull. Isn't that Schwarzenegger? Was it Krull?
Is that? I haven't seen that.
I don't know.
Sorry. Kalani has the only one on the list that I have seen.
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, this isn't. That's something else I was thinking of. Okay. I have seen the art for this somewhere. That looks very 80s, which it is, but like it looks very, very 80s.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Krull.
Beyond Our Time.
I've heard of it, but I have never seen it. Yeah.
The little tagline says, "Beyond our time, beyond our universe, there is a planet besieged by alien invaders, where a young king must rescue his love from the clutches of the beast, or risk the death of his world. Krull, a world light years beyond your imagination."
Tiber says it features a soundtrack by the band Badfinger.
Well, if that's not a selling point, I don't know what is.
Beyonce said Samurai Cop is amazing. I cried laughing at Samurai Cop. It is the worst thing I've ever seen and the funniest.
I still need to see it.
Oh my God. Watch it. You have to watch it with friends though, because it is one of those movies where you literally just laugh out loud. You just cry. And we were MST3K doing that entire movie. It was just like, oh my God, he's gonna walk into that. He just walked into that door. Like, and Kalani has the only one on the list that I've actually seen, and that's Avalon. It's like the quintessential life as a Jewish kid in the 1930s, 40s.
Okay.
And so, I've seen that movie because it, reminds me a lot of my family. So.
Nice.
You guys are like filling the chat room with all these other ones too, which is great.
Yeah. Kung Fury. If you have not seen Kung Fury on Netflix, I think it's still on Netflix. It is so weird, but like I think it was made on a very, very low budget by like one or two guys.
Yeah.
It's real, a lot of green screen, and you can tell, but it's actually pretty. It's weird, but it's kind of cool.
In Samurai Cop, the main character has a mullet, and then he cut his mullet, and they came back for reshoots, so they put him in this awful wig, and you could see the cut shots between the wig and his mullet, and like there was a couple moments where I was crying with laughter because it was so ridiculously bad, and Jayonce made us watch it during Nerdtacular. It was like, we are going to watch this movie, and we watched it. I had brought my Amazon Fire Stick with us to hook up to the television. So then I brought my Fire Stick home and plugged it in, and it kept telling me, recommending things that were like Samurai Cop because we watched it on my Fire Stick. And then I was reminded by it all over again. You need friends that will make you watch stupid movies with them and just laugh until you cry. That is really, that is the best.
Well, I've never seen The Room, and with that whole Disaster Artist movie coming out where James Franco plays a guy acting in another movie in The Room, like I've never seen it, and I know it's awful, but I think at some point I'm going to have to watch it.
Yeah, I don't know. have
That's
no idea.
it's very obscure. It's like Hollywood's favorite best worst movie ever. It's like it's like a cult classic within the movie community out there, and I don't know.
So weird.
It was so bad it's good kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll just have to see.
Well, that that does it for Tell Us One Thing. That was a fun discussion, and
It
you
really
guys,
was.
yeah, we'll be back next week with more topics. By the way, we are pretty much out of questions in the mailbox, so bring on your
Inventory
questions.
is empty.
Yeah, we emptied out the last one, and we had a nice run of them. You guys were filling it up, and now we have run dry again. So if you are sitting on a question that you are looking for advice for, or you have a discussion topic that you want our perspective on, now is an amazing time to do it. And
Yes.
do it too. Awesome. And I don't have any slash moves at all. So
I've got one.
you got one?
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and slash move my dad because today is actually the 25th anniversary of when we almost lost him.
Oh wow.
He was in he got hit by a truck while he was driving in Tennessee 25 years ago today, and put him in a coma for a week. So, and then he had to go through a lot of physical therapy to get to where he could walk and come back again. And he's a great dad. And you know, if you guys listened last week, he fell and cut his head open. He's still recovering, but he's doing okay. I saw him on Sunday.
Good. I was gonna ask.
And I don't get to see him very often, and I'm gonna call him after the show and talk to him. But I really love my dad a lot. He's a great guy, and nobody's perfect, but my dad is one hell of a dad.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy to still have him here, and I'm glad I didn't lose him that day. And every day since then, I'm glad I didn't lose him. So, slash moo to you, Dad. I know you're probably not listening, but that's okay because I'll talk to you after the show.
Mm-hmm. And and I'll throw one to my dad who is listening for being awesome and calling me when it's 70 some odd degrees outside when I'm freezing my butt off to tell me that he's driving with the windows down just because. But
Yeah,
my
rub it
parents
in
are
there.
amazing. Oh, I get my sense of humor from them. So we do have one slash moo that came in just from Wicked Kitten just now, and she said slash moo to my uncle in Puerto Rico that died a few weeks ago. I'm sorry for your loss.
Sorry about that, Nika.
Mm-hmm. So I believe, Mark Honan, that is a show.
Yeah, according to the show notes, that is a show.
It has
Like
all
it's like right there.
It has all the makings. The ingredients have been cooked and plated, and you have a steaming pile of show.
Now that's a show title if ever I have heard one.
Draven.
Draven, you got to update your list already. I know you've had it primed and ready to go, but there's another one for you, buddy. We may not even need the list tonight. That might be it.
I warned you people. I warned you that my brain is different today, and it's just there's not going to be any predictability with what comes out. It's just you're just going to have to live with it. So what's going on for you in the next 7 days or so?
Oh goodness. What is the steaming pile of show derailed me? Goodness, not really a whole lot. I've kind of got the house to myself for the next week, so I may do some afternoon streaming of leveling up my Lightforged Draenei or my Void Elf Hunter, or maybe some Overwatch. Heck, I don't know. You can see me yell at the screen. It'd be fun. So I'll be sure to tweet that out if it does happen. Oh, we do have another thing next Wednesday.
Yes, we do.
That we are doing.
And I just sent it out to our patrons. You can get that on your patreon.com/Tauren Think Tank. If you are a patron, you would have gotten a message to say that our first patron game night is coming up on Wednesday. So we'll have that before the next show. It'll be from 7 to 9. And I think we're going to start with some Overwatch, and then we'll go from there and see what everybody else wants to do who's shown up.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Look forward to seeing our patrons there. And if you would like to be a patron as well, we'll say this in a little while, but you can always go to patreon.com/Tauren Think Tank. You guessed it. And sign up there. We'd sure appreciate it.
We will. And one more reminder that we've got the Minnesota meetup coming up this weekend. If you're in Minnesota and you want to come hang out with a bunch of CTR Guild people, including me, then that is on Saturday at 2 o'clock at New Bohemia in Roseville, Minnesota. So we will see you there. And with that, we will bring this show to a close, like we always do. Just like this. Tauren Think Tank is a proud member of the Signals Media All-Star Network. Find out more about the other great shows in the network by going to signalsmedia.com.
Portions of the music and sound effects heard on this show can be found at incompetech.com and freesound.org. You can find us outside of the show on our website, and that's taurenthinktank.com, and that has all of our podcasts and information on how to get in touch with us, too. If you'd like some sweet Triple T merchandise, you can find that at taurenthinktank.com/store. What do you think might be in there, you may asking me? Well, internet person that I cannot hear, but I'm pretending to hear. You can get some awesome t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, phone cases, notebook, and laptop cases. Maybe a couple extra surprises. So we say it again, taurenthinktank.com/store.
Thank you to all who support our show via Patreon. If you'd like to help out Triple T, you can do so at patreon.com/TaurenThinkTank and get a part of our new game night, which will start next week. If you would also like to meet other members of the Triple T community, chat about your cats, your dogs, your creative stuff, your needing of support, and just wanting to friendly voices to hear you, it's our Discord server, which is so much fun. Quick way to get there is tinyurl.com/TTTchat2.
Yep. And you can also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Tauren Think Tank. You can find us on Twitter for the show at Tauren Think Tank. You can also find Jules at Jules RPG. And you can find me, Marconin, at Marconin Wow.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, chat room, for being with us tonight, hanging out every Thursday night at 8 o'clock Central. You can find us on the video stream at twitch.tv/Tauren Think Tank. We love seeing you here with us, however you can listen to the show. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Marconin.
Jules.
Have a wonderful week. Stay dry.
I will do my best, and you have a wonderful week yourself. Thank you for this steaming pile of show we just finished.
It's still steaming, people. We'll be back next week. Send us your questions. Again, we would love to hear from you. For myself, for Marconin, for the entire chat room. Until next time. /moo, everybody.
/moo.
Tauren Think Tank. We make your problems less bad.
This podcast is a part of the Signals Media All-Star Network. For more information on this and other fine shows, go to signalsmedia.com. It's okay to stick our stuff in your ears. Really?
Really? You lost me. We're right here, Dad. We've been here the whole time.
The whole time.
What did Draven get for us?
Void Conan makes me feel things. A case of the vapors. You're cynical. Good night, folks. Tie-dad. No more boom boxes outside windows. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. Realistic perfection. Still a tie-dad. Obscure silver trumpets. Have friends with it. MSK with. Steaming pile of show. Error 404. Light forged void elf. I can't hear you, but I know you're there. Nope. Still a tie-dad.
Twitch must have twitched out. Something in there. I think it's steaming pile of show.
I think you're right. That steaming pile of show. It's perfect.
Played it
Perfect.
up. Yeah, New Jersey people. How much snow did you guys get yesterday?
Too much.
We got a bunch on Monday, and it was not fun. But yeah, I don't know. Twitch must have just decided it wanted to go poop.
Maybe so. Twitch had to poop.
Because there was no drop frames at all.
Yeah, good job, Draven. You're on top of it, man.
18 inches on your deck. Oof.
That's a lot of inches.
That's awful, man. We got about 4 or 5 inches of snow, but it was blowing so much that it was a lot more in certain spots. So we were in there doing the thing. Oh. Hi, buddy.
It's like I know Tim Robbins from 2 movies. When I think Tim Robbins, I think Shawshank Redemption, and the other one is the Hudsucker Proxy, because that's the other one that I really remember him from.
Shawshank Redemption is one of the best movies ever.
Oh, it is. It is just fantastic.
It does not fit in my theory because a Shawshank Redemption sounds like I would not want to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a weird title.
It is a weird title.
But 4 inches, ugh. Hopefully it'll warm up and dry out and melt, and then you won't have to deal with anything else. Because we're doing pretty good. It's just been kind of cold for the morning and early afternoon. Then it warms up a bit, but the clocks go forward on Saturday. So
they do.
You're like, oh man, more snow on Monday.
Sleep.
I know those major roads being clear is usually you want them to be clear, but then you're like, I gotta go to work. That sucks.
Yeah, now I gotta get out in there. Oh man.
Oh man.
Dang it.
Yup.
Oh, there we go.
You pop?
Yeah.
How's your new chair been holding up? Are you enjoying it?
I am, but the left armrest snapped in half.
Oh.
I have it secured, so that works. But I like it overall. I've gotten used to it. It's gotten used to me. I like it.
Nice and broken in.
Yeah. I think my next one will probably be a DX Racer, but this is a good stepping stone to kind of get me in the feel for it.
Yeah. I mean, now I've had mine it's almost 2 years now, and it's been awesome. It's so comfortable. Comfortable. All right, guys. We're gonna.
What was that about? What's the cat question mark for, Nika? What are you talking about?
I don't know. Cat question.
I don't think there's a cat in here. I know Pixie's not in here, but Reese's not been.
I haven't seen a cat.
If Reese snuck in, she's been napping over there under the table.
Yeah, I haven't seen her.
See.
Garrus has been good and sleeping in his bed the whole time. Farewell to Arm.
Farewell to Arm.
I'm feeling. Did the cat break the chair? Oh, did the cat?
Oh no, I did. I was standing up, and I was pushing down on the arm, and it snapped that way. Just because I was I stood up and put a lot of weight on just the edge of the armrest, and it broke the underside of it. But the cushion's fine.
Yeah.
So I've just tightened down the rest of it really good and tight, so it's not going to move, or it doesn't move much. So ride it till the wheels fall off.
That's right. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. Good night, Dad, and good night,
everybody.
Thanks for being with us. Thanks for participating in the discussion, and we'll be back next week.
Yep,
Bye,
we
guys.
see y'all then. Later. Have a good week.